Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hobbits. Today checking out some Samuel Smiths. That's not something I've done in a while. We've been kicking back with a lot of old school stuff, but this isn't really a Throwback Thursday because this is a beer I never reviewed on the channel. I think I had it once at a beer festival and, just tried it and didn't, think too much about it. I think I have a very low on tap rating actually, but yeah, this is the Samuel Smith's Organic Chocolate Stout. There we go. Chocolatey stouty boys. Old money pastry boy. This was before Pastry Town. This was, it's one of the newer products from Samuel Smith's. I remember they did this as a new thing and everyone loved it. Odd thing, this is the highest rated Samuel Smith's beer, which I think is kind of crazy because for me, they do some of the best classically brewed British beer. Their Imperial Stout is a beer I've drunk a lot of way back in the day, along with their Teddy Porter and Oatmeal Stout. Those were fantastic. They also just like their English IPAs and their Yorkshire Stingo and whatnot. And it's not too often we see their beers around anymore. It's sporadically, and some of the bottles are quite old. But this one's, I'm guessing, is fairly fresh because it says that it doesn't expire until April 2022. So I don't know how much time they give this, but it's, hopefully a bit fresher. 5% pick this up because I thought it'd be fun to try. And, I think I want to revisit at one point some of the Samuel Smiths too, but for some reason I just picked this because I haven't had it. So yeah, as I said, 5% chocolate stout, organic chocolate stout. It's not made with actual cocoa nibs and conditioned on cocoa nibs. It's made with it says a coca extract, organic chocolate or cocoa nib extract. But that's actually not too far off of what a lot of pastry boys or modern pastry brewers are doing nowadays, infusing the beer with all these flavorings, which is one of the things I've been a bit fed up with in modern craft beer. I love a good pastry stout if it's done right, but I prefer it with real ingredients. I guess this is almost like an old school version of that. So it's a 5% stout brewed with chocolate. They put in organic malted barley, organic cane sugar, organic hops, yeast, and then organic hop extract. So 100% organic beer. Otherwise, they couldn't call it organic on the label right there. But I don't believe all the Samuel Smith beers are organic. If you don't know them, they're from Tadcaster in North Yorkshire. They're a famous brewery and one of the higher standards in classic brewed British beer. So let's just dive straight into this one. They say that this is brewed with chocolate malt for chocolate flavor and organic cocoa extract. And by the way, it's gently roasted too, the chocolate malt, they say. So we're going to get a soft chocolatey flavor, I think, and then with a little bit of a cocoa extract. I'm not expecting it's going to be like, crazy pastry, whatever. It's going to be more classic to give like a creamy chocolatey character. But, it's about over a 4 for a classic beer on Untapped. That's pretty impressive. So the highest rated beer that they do as far as I can see. But let's dive in. I've had this years ago, as I said, but it's been a long time, and I never reviewed it on the channel, so here we go. Pours a black color in the glass. Looks like a classic British stout, as it is black, but with a little bit of light bleeding through, revealing a slight mahogany brown in the bottom of the glass. Head on there is nice and tan looking, as it's supposed to. So let's check out the aroma. Ooh, it's milky chocolatey. You know what? It's not far off the aroma you get on pastry stouts nowadays. It's really milky and chocolatey. But there's an interesting sweet honey vibe to it as well. Yeah, the fun thing, I have one tasting note on this originally, and I gave it a 3, which is way too low, at least just smelling this. It just says it smells like cocoa butter. I can see that, when you make cocoa butter for cakes and stuff, it's got something like that, because there's a little bit of a buttery diacetyl, which is perfectly fine in British beers. But it's interesting, the chocolate flavor reminds me a bit of the chocolate aroma flavor thing you get into the Dukas Cacao, whatever. Great beer, as far as I remember. It's a similar deal, and I think it's because it's an extract, but it really dominates the nose. Underneath, there's a little bit of dark fruit, like a Bassett's wine gum type thing. And a lot of you guys have been saying, hey, Peter, what is wine gums? Wine gums are candies that are eaten, at least in Denmark and the UK. And they're like small, round gummy candies. And they're a bit different tasting than, a gummy bear. A lot of people say it's grandma candy because it's, what a lot of old people eat. I think it's the case in Denmark too. But, it's got that character from the yeast and malt combined. Yeah, a bit of roasty, toasty. It's more toasty. It's not like really roasty. I'm even getting hints of coconut, oddly enough. It smells like old school beer done pastry. Let's try, guys. Cheers. I totally get why a lot of people love this. It reminds me of drinking Young's Organic Double Chocolate Stout. Something along those lines. That beer I haven't had it's been probably like 5 or 6 years since I had this beer last. And I think it's been even longer since I had a Young's Organic, or not organic, just Young's Double Chocolate, which I used to love. It's a very similar flavor. It's like this, like sweet, milky chocolate, like sweeter chocolate flavor that's slightly buttery, like almost like a cocoa butter. And I think it's just because there's a hint of diacetyl in a lot of classic brewed British beers, so you're getting some of that. Milky too, but there's no lactose in it. No, not at all. But it has a bit of a milkiness. Really toasty, like almost like toasted breadiness, toasted bread, like that toasted maltiness. It's not really heavily roasted, so I'm guessing they use mainly chocolate malt, maybe a bit of roasted barley for coloring, but chocolate malts are quite dark. But usually chocolate malt doesn't give the same heavy roast as a roasted barley or a black malt or whatever. It gives a softer chocolatey flavor. And if you pair that with lots of chocolate or some chocolate extra, you're going to get a really chocolatey stout that's not super roasty. And I think that's why it's appealing to a lot of people and why it has maybe also quite high average. Because I think this is a very, easy to drink dark beer. So a lot of people who are new to beer, they'll see this, they'll pick it up, and they'll be like, wow, this is like drinking chocolate. Oh my God. And then you have like modern day, crazy pastry boy beers, and they're even more nuts. But they're too nuts for a lot of newcomers to beer. So I see the whole point with this. There is a little bit of bitterness to this as well, to just offset some of that sweet, chocolate flavor, like a hedgerowy kind of bitter hop flavor. And a bit of that kind of wine gum dark fruit kind of flavor to it as well, and like just super toasty and chocolatey. It's pretty good. It's by far not my favorite Sam Smith beer. I much prefer the oatmeal stout and the Taddy Porter, just because you get something more than chocolate. Like with these classic beers, often what's make them fantastic is delicate, soft nuances. And they are complex, they're just delicate. They're not like a lot of modern craft beer, which I love. It's fantastic. But this falls a bit short to me in, what I often want in classic beer. So it's kind of falling in between like a classic beer and a modern beer, to me at least. It's not a bad beer in any way, shape, or form. It's just not a Samuel Smith beers I think I'm going to pick up again. But that being said, I definitely want to revisit some of the classic stuff and review for you guys again. I loved it back in the day. I had it, again, it's years since I had it, but I remember still liking it. But yeah, this is all right. If you're into, if I had this maybe 10 years ago when I was getting into craft beer, 12 years ago, whatever it is, I would have loved it. I would have think this was amazing chocolatey beer. I'd had this. Would have had the same experience drinking Young's Double Chocolate. So, back then I think I would really give this like a 92 or 90, whatever. But I think it's all right. I think it's deserving of something like a 3.5 when Untapped. 3.5. Decent beer. Nothing crazy. I just prefer classic beer that tastes a bit more classic. If I want this kind of pastry stuff or just like chocolatey beers, I would get a more modern Imperial Stout. But for 5%, it's quite luxurious. It's got a quite velvety, slick mouthfeel, which is nice. So I'm going to go an 85. 3.5 on Untapped, 85. I think that's fair. So, if you guys in recent times had a chance to try Samuel Smith's Organic Chocolate Stout, let me know what you thought of it. And let me know which of these Samuel Smith's beers you'd like me to redo or revisit. And whoever or whatever beer gets the most votes, I guess we'll do next. Because they are very easy to get here in Denmark. So, yeah, if you guys had this, let me know. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And ring the bell for future notifications about beer videos. And I'm going to say cheers. And see you guys in another beer review.